The Khan Younis training center in Gaza has been converted into a survival supplies warehouse with the support of the United Nations Agency for Palestine Refugees, UNRWA. The Russian government expressed it is willing to open negotiations with the United States to find a solution to the Ukrainian conflict. And the U.S. President Donald Trump's first anti-immigrant raids leave more than 500 detained and hundreds deported. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR Studios in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. The Khan Younis training center in Gaza has been converted into a survival supplies warehouse with the support of the United Nations Agency for Palestine Refugees, UNRWA. The former training center now houses survival essentials, basic foodstuffs such as flour and canned goods, in addition to tents, caravans and mobile toilets. According to an UNRWA's report, at the end of November 2024, only 6% of Gaza's nutritional needs are being met, while the Israeli blockade has led to the closure of numerous bakeries in the south of the region due to flour shortages. The agency had hundreds of aid trucks ready to enter Gaza, half of which would carry food and flour. However, the entry of these resources was systematically obstructed until after the ceasefire agreement. On a tense session of the United Nations Security Council, the coordinator of the Humanitarian Affairs, Tom Fletcher, denounced that there are 17,000 orphan children in Gaza after the genocidal offensive of Israel. Fletcher was summoned to present a briefing on the situation in the Palestinian enclave after the ceasefire has been enforced. However, the head of UNICEF, Catherine Russell, and her entire team did not attend the session. Subsequently, the coordinator held responsible for commenting on the precarious situation of children and young people in Gaza. In addition to the absence of family members, either because they were killed, kidnapped or disappeared, the diplomat added cases of malnutrition, rape and torture of all kinds, including subjection to starvation and extreme cold weather conditions. In this context, the Israeli forces have reached their fourth consecutive day of storming the Jenin governorate, including its refugee camp. Such incursions have led to the destruction of properties and the annihilation of over a dozen Palestinians so far. As a result, the deputy governor of the region, Mansour Saadi, denounced the Israeli siege of the main entrance and accesses to the refugee camps, in addition to power outages that prevented the passage of fuel to feed the electric plants of hospitals. The Russian government expressed it is willing to open negotiations with the United States to find a solution to the Ukrainian conflict. In this sense, Russian President Vladimir Putin recalled that Ukraine has decided to prohibit by law negotiations with Moscow and pointed out that this decree makes it almost impossible to negotiate a solution to the conflict. In addition, Putin said that the White House must force Kyiv to stop the conflict, pointing out that the financing that Ukraine gets for its military devices comes from the United States and its allies. The highest authority in the Vatican has denounced the lack of information in the media and reaffirmed that through social networks it is in many cases in control of the lines of disinformation. On the occasion of the 59th edition of the World Day of Social Communications, Pope Francis has criticized the fact that algorithms in social networks alter the perception of reality. The Supreme Pontiff also criticized the fact that these centers of power control the data in which social networks have influenced the problems of world societies. In his speech, Pope Francis warned against the misuse of artificial intelligence, which he said has in some cases been used to manipulate the consciousness of the most vulnerable people. And now we have a short break coming up, but first remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates and more. We'll be right back, stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. The Meteorological Authority of Ireland issued a red alert for Storm Eowyn, which left thousands of homes in the country without power. Ireland was hit by winds of 114 miles per hour, the strongest since the Second World War. The storm, which has also spread to the United Kingdom and Scotland, caused the suspension of several flights and the closure of rail routes in places such as Gatwick and Edinburgh. It also caused the power cut of at least 700,000 Irish homes and businesses and almost 100,000 in Northern Ireland.
The storm was dreadful last night, absolutely dreadful and frightening, especially from the hours of about 5 o'clock this morning until about 9. Nothing I've ever experienced in my life. It was truly frightening. Some of the gusts of wind were dreadful, yeah.
Yeah, it was the most severe storm we've seen in 20, 30 years. And nobody got any sleep last night. You just couldn't get to sleep. And once you try to get over, you hear the noise. So you just struggle. You just lay in bed and relax. That's all you could do.
Storm Eowyn barreled in from the Atlantic Ocean Friday, causing havoc across Ireland, Northern Ireland and Scotland, leaving hundreds of thousands of homes without power, flights grounded and schools shut. Millions of people across the three nations were urged to shelter at home from the destructive storm, as Ireland recorded its strongest ever wind gusts of 183 kilometers per hour, breaking an 80-year-old record. In this sense, the consequences of the storm were catastrophic, as it brought down power lines, felled trees, blocked roads and destroyed 2 Irish sport facilities. As a result, Scotland, Ireland and Northern Ireland closed schools, suspended trains and ferries activities and cancelled flights. Likewise, flights were also cancelled at several airports, including Belfast in Northern Ireland and Aberdeen, Edinburgh and Glasgow in Scotland. On Friday, the Cambodian city of Phnom Penh ranked 5th on the most polluted major cities list of IQ Air, a Swiss air quality technology company. In this regard, Cambodia's Environment Ministry confirmed that the air quality in Phnom Penh and 3 other cities had reached a red level of contamination, meaning highly polluted. In addition, the ministry said in a statement that the air pollution was caused by climate change, waste incineration and forest fires. Moreover, it urged people to monitor their health and avoid outdoor activities. On the other hand, air pollution has closed schools across several regions of Asia recently, specifically Pakistan, Thailand and India, with nearly 2 million students in New Delhi affected.
We have seen only air quality PM 2.5 in the atmosphere. The key reasons that cause the increase of PM 2.5 are fires, such as forest fires, or waste burning, or burnings of other things. If the areas have the increase of PM 2.5 in air at red level beyond our standard within 24 hours, we encourage people to take care of their health, and if their health is not normal, please go see a nearby doctor, a health center or hospital.
In Antarctica, the world's largest iceberg, known as A23A, is moving slowly on a possible collision course with the South Georgia Islands, a British territory, which is a crucial wildlife habitat. Scientists fear that if the iceberg continues on its course, it could threaten the lives of baby penguins and seals. According to British Antarctic Survey's oceanographer Andrew Majors, it is difficult to predict the course of the iceberg, but ocean currents suggest that it would reach the shallow continental shelf around southern Georgia within 2 to 4 weeks. Furthermore, Majors assure that what might happen next is unknown to scientists, but it is highly likely that this event will seriously affect seals and penguins, which feed and raise their babies on these islands. U.S. President Donald Trump's first anti-immigrant raids leave more than 500 detained and hundreds deported. According to White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, the arrested and deported migrants had criminal records and convictions for serious crimes. However, civil organizations denounced cases such as that of Natalie Burke, a Jamaican mother who was detained for deportation based on a conviction for marijuana possession imposed 20 years ago, even though it is now legal and in the state where she lives. The raids began as soon as the U.S. House of Representatives gave the go-ahead to President Donald Trump's anti-immigrant law. 2 U.S. military planes arrived in Guatemala Friday with dozens of deported nationals of the Central American country. Local authorities immediately activated physical and psychological assistance protocols for the migrants. The first flight arrived at midnight with 70 deportees, 31 of whom were women and 48 men. The second flight landed in the morning with an unspecified number of passengers. The Guatemalan government has not confirmed if the groups include any of the 538 illegal immigrants arrested by U.S. authorities and announced by the White House on Thursday. The arrivals take place the same day the Trump administration launched the first deportations of undocumented immigrants.
We will continue working on our assistance to them, to know their needs and their capabilities in order to guarantee the best mechanisms and state programs so that they can resettle in this country.
We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, there you'll be able to rewatch our interviews, top stories, special broadcastings and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break, don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. The Mexican government ratifies a cooperation plan that opposes the unilateral measures imposed by the USA. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said that unilateral decisions by the United States against Mexicans do not help, so cooperation and joint coordination in a comprehensive strategy is needed. The president warned that Trump's decision could include organizations that are not linked to terrorism, which would affect the economy. Sheinbaum reiterated that they are working on a campaign against fentanyl to prevent its global spread.
What are we doing to combat these criminal organizations? Because the issue here is not if we are here, let's put it this way, if it helps. The definition of terrorist organizations goes beyond the definition to combat these organizations. That is the question, and what would the implications be? Because, in the end, that is what President Trump has publicly stated, that he does not want fentanyl in the United States. But, we not only do not want fentanyl to reach the United States, we do not want it to reach any place.
The Mexican president assured that she is conducting a legal analysis to determine the implications of the U.S. decree on the designation of cartels as terrorist organizations.
What we are doing is a legal analysis of what the implications would be for different organizations that are not linked and that could generate an economic problem with this decision, let's say. And in any case, we are making a proposal to the United States on how to collaborate together and coordinate to reduce violence in Mexico. Prevent arms trafficking from the United States to Mexico and at the same time prevent these drugs from reaching the United States and any young person in any part of the world.
The Minister of Interior, Justice and Peace of Venezuela, Diosdado Cabello, during the premiere of his podcast with Deputy Tania Diaz, highlighted the call that Commander Hugo Chavez made to the young people of Venezuela to stay in the country and build the future of the homeland.
To understand and transmit in time that message of, I would leave, too much. A message or a false message to young people to leave Venezuela, and well, how do I popularize this? How do I make this viral? Remember that Chavez was ahead of the times regarding social networks, the only one who has spoken with knowledge of cause here in Venezuela. The one who put it into practice was Hugo Chavez. But beyond everything, he said it to them, how are you going to leave Venezuela, boy, girl? Stay here to build the future of the homeland.
Likewise, Cabello assured that America will be a great homeland if Colombia ends the war, since it affects all the countries of the region.
Without a doubt, our America, the great homeland, will be better if there is peace in Colombia. Whoever believes the lie that Colombia is at peace is not seeing the reality. They have been at war for 80 years and they do not want to end it for whatever reasons, but they do not want to end it. That affects us, Ecuador, Bolivia, it affects all the American countries.
At the Foundation Center for Latin American Studies, Rómulo Gallegos, the day of activities in honor of the Colombian Senator Piedad Córdoba continues. As part of the fifth day of activities, the participants attended the workshop Braids and Turbans given by the Afro-Venezuelan teacher and researcher Eileen Hugueto. The event seeks to show the hairstyle, the accessories, as well as the clothing that highlighted the Colombian leader throughout the years, being a symbol that intertwined her with her Afro-descendant roots. Córdoba was an advocate for the true inclusion of multiculturalism in the Colombian territory, giving value to these practices as well as the ancestral legacy that she represents.
De presentar este tema porque profundizando en la historia de la senadora que
because deepening in the story of the senator who transcended to another space is a living and lived example of how important it is to connect with your own essence. Beyond that you are a public figure, beyond that you feel you are a common and wild person like everyone else, and I think that is the main value we have, that we give ourselves with equality. But when you connect with your essence, that truth goes beyond you, it makes an impact and transcends to others.
esa verdad va más allá de ti, trasciende e impacta.
With music and confetti poured over a figure of Ekeko, the god of abundance, Bolivians celebrated the Alacita festival, also known as Miniatures Festival in La Paz. The festivity, declared Intangible Heritage of Humanity by UNESCO, takes place every January 24th in the capital and other regions of the country. The event, honoring the god of abundance, Ekeko, is a reflection of the desire and longing of Bolivians for receiving material or immaterial goods during the year. The festival is also a showcase of the rich Bolivian heritage and a celebration of miniature craftsmanship. The central urban park of La Paz is the main venue of the Alacita Fair. Here, the artisans offer miniature versions of mills, houses, cars, and even household appliances, which represent the goals to be achieved by the locals in the course of the year. And like this, we have come to the end of this news brief, but remember, you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram and TikTok as well. For Telesur English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.